to another episode of the Rayados90 podcast. I'm your host, Eddie. This is our actually take two. Nobody's gonna know about this, but this is our take two.
Take two.
I forgot. Yeah, this is our take two. I forgot to hit the record button, so yeah, that was like a little gaffe on our end. Not that the listener cares or anything, but that's just for us to laugh at. But we're laughing because yeah, we were talking about it in that forgotten episode or that little forgotten session.
It's lost media now.
Yeah, Monterrey. Monterrey. Demichelis is who we thought he was or is. Last like 2 weeks ago, we had some optimism. Maybe, Ligia is something different. And for that first 90 minutes, I kind of was like, yeah, it could be a little bit different.
Believe.
But that was with Demichelis up in the box. Away from the players, it looked great. The conceding that goal late. Now, looking at back, hindsight's 2020. It really did cost them to give up that second goal. Uh, but before we get into all the coaching madness that's now coming up because we're recording this on a Tuesday night, uh, I'll start with you first, Fernando. Uh, what was your reaction to just Monterrey crashing out the way they did? Because it was the high of taking a 3-2 lead to Toluca, uh, and then having the high of playing against Toluca down 10 men, and then the low of realizing that they were about to lose to a 10-man Toluca. And it was just, at some point, I just wanted the game to be over because I was like,
Yeah.
they're not coming back. There was no signs of like life. Like at least against, like, you go back to like the final against America, like that. Before the obviously with the Johan Rojas goal, but there was like some scoring chances. Like, I mean, obviously the Vegas one that hit the post, but there was like score. And then you go back to, if you want to go back a little bit closer, like the Vancouver game. That's that towards the end. There was at least scoring chances. The one like with Bertrame hits the post too. Like there was scoring chances. And this one, like towards the end of that game, it was just crosses and see if something comes up. There was nothing tactical, nothing in it was just crosses, and it was just let's helmet like we need a goal. Let's see if this
That's
works,
what
right?
I married.
That was it. But give me your overall thoughts on that tie.
Well, if we're being honest, like I felt something during that sending off of Elino. At that moment, I was like, you know what? This is too good to be true. To the point where I think Rayados is gonna mess this up. So, like at that moment, I was pretty like I was thinking a lot of just saying to like Samira, like we're about to win this game. We got like 1 minute up, but I think both of us like didn't mention anything about like winning the game because of that standing off. Like we just knew the way that like the players came out, that they were feeling, that like you could see them on the pitch. It sucks because as a Rayados fan, I'm seeing the players that I'm supposed to be supporting every single day not play on the pitch because they're not playing. They're not doing anything. They're just there to like catch a check, and that's it. That's what we got shown. Or if like you want to look at more of the, hey, they're trying to get the manager out, like still like there's other ways that you can do it. It was already like on the works while you were starting to do good, but your players just suddenly decided to, hey, let's just not play the game. It was honestly a mess. I knew it was coming like 30, 40 minutes in. We did not see anything, and really it was just disappointing. It was just like really disappointing.
Yeah, and then you had the only goal was off of De La Rosa, whose shot went off. I think somebody, it went off somebody, and then it went in. Uh, and then you think that's okay. They played with fire, giving up that first goal in the first half. You would think, okay, they're gonna they're gonna start like, okay, we got away with that. We're ahead now 4-3. Let's let's not make any more mistakes. Let's not do anything stupid. Uh, they couldn't find that second goal that they needed to ice the game, and then again against it, the Paulinho goal off a set piece. Terrible. I don't even know what to say anymore in terms of like defending set and then on set pieces too. It's just like they. I don't
Set
know if
pieces are
somebody.
killing
Yeah, they.
us.
I don't know if they fall asleep. I don't know if they're just bad at communicating who's supposed to cover who. But again, against a 10-man side, you would think there would be at least like two guys on one, because just the numbers. It's just you would think there would be somebody having two players. Like if somebody's gonna have two players on them, let it be Paulinho, and there was just nothing there. Zamira, what was your overall reaction to the night to the 180 minutes that Monterrey uh, started well, but then kind of whimpered out and went out pathetically against and against a 10-man side.
Um, I guess like the same. Like the first game, like the game we had the first 90 minutes. I mean, honestly, I felt like they actually understood the assignment and they were like, you know what, we're like here, even though like all the problems they had, all the drama. Everyone knew that Demichelis should have left after being eliminated at, against Vancouver, and we all knew that. It was just like, okay, let's just pretend that it might work out. He might leave like a, you know, he made us champions, and now he's leaving. Fine. That's what I thought on the first 90 minutes. The second 90 minutes, it was literally the Monterrey we've seen in the last, what, 5 years, 6 years? That it's like they're playing their best and then they go back to like just walk on the beach and just like lose stupid balls. And it's just like, it's a cycle that we've been like, it's like a pattern. Like, you can't be doing that on the games that you're like risking everything. Like Demichelis knew like that was gonna be his last game, and I can't understand. Like I can't why he did not play the same way that he played at home. Like he was he was he did a whole different thing. Like what are you expecting? Like they're not gonna be like if something works out. Why are you still trying to like uh, in that game? Like I still don't understand, and I really don't want to think it was because of the attitude of the players. It was really suspicious that Ramos was confirmed that he was going to play and he didn't even like made the trip to Toluca. So it's like, I mean, I know we wanted Demichelis out, but I don't think that was like the way that he should have done it. Like at this point, I'm just disappointed with like everyone, because it's like, dude, we know you want him out, but that's not the way. Like, you have fans, like they've been supporting, they've been filling out the stadium. Like a lot of people are actually believing in you, and after all that, you just walking around the pitch and trying to give like, I mean, I know we were all mad because like Gallardo's hand, and there was supposed to be another red card, and I understand at some point players, they were kind of desperate or like kind of frustrated about things were going on that game. But it's always been like that. Like you cannot be trusting that the referee's going to give you all the plays like in your favor. So it's like, I know it's not something new. You cannot rely on that. But it's just like, dude, like nobody, like at this point, nobody did a good job, like a decent job. Nobody. Like I can't say a name that you can be like, oh no, he was doing great.
To say
And
that De La Rosa was that player for Rayados in this match,
I mean,
like
you
puts it
had
into
3 shots on target. 3 shots.
with one more man.
with one more man. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know, I don't
Uh,
know. That's
uh,
annoying. That's
yeah,
annoying.
no, it was, and then they didn't waste any time. Demichelis fired the very next day against after on Sunday. He was uh, they caught him as he left the training ground, asking for forgiveness, and I'm just like, dude, oh, I was like, dude, it was it again. I'm trying to like this is a person, but man, is this guy just bad at his job? And, and yeah, I mean, you look at his 9 months, didn't even last a year. Uh, got got Monterrey to a final. Don't I mean, if you try to like pick apart how exactly they got to the final, you really don't know how. I mean, except for like individual talent, there was nothing like tactically that you say, oh yeah, they did this. I mean, against Pumas was just Chino Huerta, and that was it. Like they had nothing else. So and then you got San Luis. I think San Luis was just in over their head. At some point, those clubs, like once they get to a semifinal, it feels like they're punching above their weight class. And I feel like that, they did scare us in that first leg, but then in that second leg, they were just, I don't know if they just ran out of gas, but Monterrey ran all over them. And then he gets to America, faces America. Um, yeah, he can't figure out Jardine, and we all know what happened there. And then, you're thinking, okay, we got to the final with the guy that didn't build it, didn't have the summer to build, construct the team in his way. You think, okay, well, he'll have a transfer window, and then you know, smooth sailing. We'll get everything through. But struggles in January. Uh, Only beat a Canadian Premier League in the Concacaf before losing to Vancouver. Struggled for the most part throughout the season. Had some like terrible losses against Cholos, um, the Juarez. Or I think he drew against Atlas. It was just a
Yeah,
lot of
last week
drop
I drew.
points. Yeah, it was just a lot of drop points, a lot of bad losses, and it's just I don't know if it was the contract that they just didn't want to pay him out because I mean they're gonna have to pay him, but I'm pretty sure they just didn't want to pay some type of termination fee. Um, and less than I don't even think it was 24 hours later that he was fired. Uh, is there anything you'll remember from his tenure? When they asked you, I remember when we had Demichelis for like 9 months because, like I said, maybe that final, but even then, it's not like he had a hand in it. I feel like it was the opponents that they drew, and then just the talent, just taking him along, and that was it. Like I don't feel like he had a hand in a lot of things, but before we wrap up his tenure, is there anything that you'll remember from the 9 months? I'll start with you,
Well,
Samira, first.
the only thing I would say about him is like he got a really good beginner's luck for his first season, honestly. And the only game I would be like, thank you, I appreciate it, was the first Clásico. That was it. That's it. And I mean, I guess the game against Pumas on the first liguilla, but that's it.
What about you, Fernando? Anything you'll remember from the 9 months that he was here?
Uh,
A pregnancy.
really just for me, it's just that Pumas game. That's the only moment where I like Sammy and I like to talk a lot about analyzing like football and like uh, the lineups, everything that goes on. Just because like we get into it. That game against Pumas was the first one in which like we felt like, dang, he's actually experimenting and it's making a lot of sense, and we played really good. But I think that was the only moment that I felt Demichelis was an actual like manager. That was the only two games that I saw something in them, but a lot of Demichelis' success, well, like you cannot even call it that. Uh, it was just coming from the players, like
Yeah,
Canales before like being mad at Demichelis, Ocampos before injuries,
I mean, literally,
Victor Guzman before injuries.
De Osa was the one bringing us to this liguilla. So
There also was for us. I feel like it's at least one of our top three players this season.
yeah, yeah. And it's
Tecatito
just
being another one.
yeah, yeah. I think I would say those two. Um, and then it's really hard to pick a third. I mean, I guess you can say when he was on the pitch, Sergio Ramos, like he showed some
Yes.
stuff. Like at least you could know he's not washed.
yeah.
So at least that's a good sign. It's just
I
can he
mean,
stay
he had a
healthy?
lot of games. He played the
Yeah,
90 minutes. So
yeah. Okay, but the issue is can he stay healthy? And that's like at some point once you enter your late 30s, once you enter your 30s, because we're seeing with Ocampos, it's just how your body responds. It's just you can't. It's not like it's different healing at early 20s compared to your early 30s, late 30s, or late
Yeah.
30s. Because it's your body's different. But yeah, anything you guys want to touch on from that game against Toluca that you want to just get it out of your system? Because obviously now we have to start talking about the coach, what players are going to leave, because there's a quick turnaround. They have to get ready for the Club World Cup. There's no where they can wait till next month to maybe hire a coach. They have to figure it out probably this week at the latest next week, because they have to turn this around really quickly, or else it's going to be a disastrous Club World Cup. What Anything you want to touch on from the Toluca side before we switch over to the coaches, players, and we try to just jam everything into 1 hour?
I'm sorry, but our defense was pretty bad. I love Stefan Medina with all my heart, but this match I do say that he had a lot of weight on the game.
I don't not know why they keep playing him at center back. Like I just
this game
don't
he played
know.
at right back, and that's the problem. Alexis
They
Vega was taking advantage of just sending it all the way to the left on top, just taking advantage of the speed of Stefan Medina, and like that's how the first goal came in. Of course, with the errors of Arteaga and Victor Guzman could have done a better job.
Oh no! Now you're making me think about that first goal where he goes through three of them, where he went through. I think it was
the worst part. Was like on the outside, just like
no. The worst part is like Victor Guzman did. He got there on time, and he like moved the ball out of his way, and then Arteaga comes back and like assists. Like, dude.
Yeah, I was kind of now I thought about that going, and like I was like, yeah, you went through three. It was just cones, like it was just like here,
yellow cones.
Yeah, it was just like here,
sad.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm sorry, but like Tony Leone has to play more. Cesar Bustos has to play more. You have to start relying on your youngsters. Is they're the only ones that even if the coach is bad or the coach is good, is he mad or not? They're the only ones that feel the jersey.
Yeah.
At this point.
We'll get into that right now once we're talking about players. Like I was going to touch on that, but I was going to leave it more to like once we talk about player movement. And Samira, anything you want to add from that side? Because it's just, I mean, we can just sum it up: bad defending, no goal scoring when you needed it. No timely scoring. The bad defending. Our goalkeeper really can't bail us out.
That's what I'm saying. Like you can't say like somebody like the last game had a good game. Like nobody. And that's the sad part because it's so frustrating to see that they can do a lot and the next day they're gonna be like trash. So I honestly with this, I think we all noticed that it was the attitude of the players. And Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of concerned because every season we're like, I don't want to say they're all bad, but you can't take all the team out and bring like all the players in. So you got to work with what you have, but at the same time it's like what's going on that they all end up with the same attitude. Like, and I guess that's what we're going to talk about like with the coaches, but it's all attitude at this point.
Um, yeah, let's go to coaches first because obviously, like we can't do the players too in depth because you don't know who the coach is and you don't know what formation they're gonna bring, what type of tactics they bring.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, like I said, we're recording this on a Tuesday. 3 names we can already toss away. So you had Berrizo from Leon, like he randomly, because I guess there was talk that he might leave, but it appears him and they're going to extend his contract, or at least they're going to keep him for however long his contract is. So he crossed that name out. We had Almeida. He's leaving Greece, but he has an offer or at least interest from Saudi clubs. And if he's just trying to get paid, you're not going to compete with Saudi clubs. So
Yeah.
cross that out. You're not competing with them unless you like. The only way you can convince people not to go to Saudi Arabia is if you present a project that's really enticing, really, and if the coach or the player just wants to get paid, then you just cross that name out. And then the other one, Torrent, is reportedly going to Chivas, so that's the third name crossing it off. Right, like a couple of hours before we're recording, the hot name, I guess you can say, is Gabriel Milito, coached at Argentinos Juniors, coached at Atlético Mineiro, and there's some other names. But right now, it's just as you saw with the Almeida stuff and the Torrent, this thing can age very, very quickly. Like we could be talking about it now, but like by the time I post this on YouTube, we could probably like 3 or 4 names can be crossed out. So but Monterrey need to move quickly, and they don't have time to wait around. Because like I said, the Club World Cup starts next month, and you have to have a coach already in place. They did give their coach or their players 2 weeks off, which
Damn.
I'm not. I would have just been okay.
Just 1 week.
Wait, and they have to get a week. Like I'm pretty sure it's in their contracts and all that stuff. Like
2 weeks,
just 1 week. Like but 2 weeks just looks. It just doesn't look good. 2 weeks if you win, or 3 weeks if you win the league. Do what America did. Like the first 2-3 weeks, they just play with a bunch of youth players, and it's just like here's an extra 3-4 weeks. Well, you guys can start on match day 3 or match day 4, but yeah, it just doesn't look good. But there's a lot of names that have come out aside from like Milito. You had it's just I don't want to like. There's some other names that there's a lot of names.
Baseball.
Yeah.
Who else?
It's just a lot. They just come out and then.
I don't think Xavi is coming, but
yeah,
always
Solari.
Yeah, and just a lot of names.
I mean,
and
I guess just because they've mentioned those names before, but
yeah,
really, no one knew.
No one knew. I mean, there's again, this is Willie Gonzalez, but he did mention Arthur Georgia, I think it was the one for Botafogo last year, but he's in Qatar. Unless he really wants to leave, unless he wants to like leave Qatar, like there's some people that can't handle that change to like living in like Saudi Arabia or Qatar, like they can't handle the culture change. You see some players like that left to like Saudi Arabia and then like a year later come back or go back to Europe. I feel like if if that were to happen, that would be something along the lines of that, where it's just like, no, I can't adapt. Let me just go back to something else. That's the only way I see that one happening. Because you're not going to, even with Qatar, is not like Saudi Arabia in terms of like the league. They can still pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
But is there any name either it doesn't have to be mentioned. It could just be like the criteria that you want. Because this is a veteran team. This is not a young team that you bring in a coach, especially like a one with no experience or very like relatively successful experience, and try to get these guys to buying what you're selling. I would prefer somebody that's worked with veteran players, uh, and worked with something along the lines of these types of players that we have. Because if you bring in someone with no experience, I feel like maybe it's just going to be a clash. It's just going to be a
Yeah.
clash. I mean, you have Sergio Ramos. I don't think they're going to be like, we're not going to listen to you and all this and that. But you have to convince them to buy into what you're selling. And if you never had to coach these types of players at this, yeah, they're not in their prime, but they still have the. I mean, they can still play, as we can see. They can still play on our on our team. So, but I'll start with you, Fernando. First, is there one coach that one you would like to see them hire, and then two you would like them to stay away from?
Oh, okay. Someone that is without a job, that is my far-fetched solution. Uh, Being a Milan fan, Genaro Gattuso right now, I don't know if he's coaching, but he has the exact attitude that players right now on our team need. He's I dare to even say which my second option would obviously be Tuca. Because I'm looking for somebody that can go into that coaching like mindset, go into a room with all of our players, and like we were saying, both Sammy and I just like put on the highlights for Toluca and just be like, "Are you guys seeing this? Like, is this what you like can do as your best?" And somebody that can actually like say the words that need to be said, because like a lot. I know that it's called respect, but sometimes you have to like it doesn't have to be 50-50 that respect. It can be 60-40 because you still need a little bit of authority. Like there's always going to be more respect coming from the manager. No, there's always going to be more respect coming from the players to the manager than the manager to the players. Like yeah, there's like one off players like, hey, I trust you a lot, so you can do anything they want on the pitch. But not all the players can be that way. So really, somebody with a nasty attitude that can say what needs to be said is what we need right now. Somebody uh with courage, with a lot of like power behind his words. So that is what I would like. What I would not like is another Argentinian manager. Because okay, Crespo was one of the best strikers in the world at his point in time. Yes, like that's good. It's Hernan Crespo, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he was one of the best players at some point in history for Argentina. But just because you're a good player doesn't mean that you are going to be like a good coach. Then you
Yeah.
have Milito, which also another Argentinian, another striker for Inter Milan that made a lot of history as a good good player. But then you put them into coaching situations like it's dumb, but I feel like sometimes it's from a player that became a manager. It's like, bro, why you cannot do this? Like I could do it in my time. Why
Hmm.
can you not do this? So
Yeah.
I
I
feel like
mean,
it.
there's more that succeed. I mean, there's more that fail than succeed, because you look at Wayne Rooney sucked. Um, Andrea Pirlo sucked.
Yeah,
But there's some other ones like Cesc Fabregas has done good at Como. Xavi
Zidane.
Alonso did what at Bayer Leverkusen. But it's just more like, for every 10 players that you name, maybe two or three succeed. So it's like the
Yeah,
odds are more that these types of players are going to fail than succeed. Uh, but is before I switch over to Zamira, is anything else you want to add on that?
just not another Argentinian. That's all that I
We'll
ask
see.
for.
We'll see if they cannot resist that Argentinian accent, and we'll see if they can resist it or not. But Zamira, is there a manager that you would want, whether they're linked to them or not, just because of the profile, and then one manager that you kind of want them to stay away from?
I guess I can't say like specifically who I want and who I don't want. Maybe just like because at this point, like I don't really know who to trust. Like who are they actually talking to? Like, um, I mean Almeida, I was not like very mad because I mean he knows the Liga MX. He won stuff like he won Liga, Conca, and Copa at the same year. So that was like cool. But then you go back to like when he was fired, like it was really bad. The position they left. Um, I don't want to say Tuca that I want Tuca, but again, like Fernando said, we did have that conversation. Like you need somebody that can handle all the egos on the dressing room. Like if you have Canales, if you have Sergio Ramos, if you have players like Ocampos, Oliver Torres, that they have been in like European teams and they know what they have to do. They're not like young. We don't have that many young players, and the young players we have, we've seen like that hunger on them. So I feel like they don't need somebody to like explain them how to play, but we need somebody that understands like their best qualities so he can actually push them to the limit so they can all together make it work. Because I feel that's what happened with this team. Like they're all good and they all know how to play, but somehow the Michelis, it was really hard for them to look good like together. So with that being said, you understand you need somebody that the players respect because of their careers, because of their experience, and because of their pants. Like that's it.
Yeah,
Because it's like Fernando said, like you're gonna show them the game from like against Toluca and be like, is that your best shot? Like you knew that it was like if you lose, everything's gonna be done for that season, and that's how you play. Like you really couldn't run faster, or you really couldn't pass it to your teammates. So it's like at this point, for the names that are being told, like I know Cannavaro and like other, like you can't bring someone right now with no experience and with no like success in their career.
yeah, yeah,
So you might bring up a coach like the Michelis and make them work maybe just for the Club World Cup, but is that it? Like we're just gonna work on that, or you're actually trying to bring like open a new path, open
yeah.
a new team, open a new generation, new mindset. So I don't know.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Look, for me, I am not a Benito fan. Uh, Dude, it ended really really badly at Atletico Mineiro. He went like 12 games without a win. From like I tweeted this out from like October to the last game that he before he was fired or after he was fired, he only won one league game. So it was like from October to December, and it's not like Brazil plays through the FIFA window, right? They don't stop. They it's like the MLS. They play through, so it's not like, well, they only played two matches for because of the FIFA. No, he went 12 matches without a win. Lost the final to Botafogo in the same way that Monterrey did, except he had almost the entire game playing 11v10, and they lost 3-1. Then he loses the final to, or before, I think it was before the Libertadores final. But either way, he loses the Copa do Brasil to Flamengo, who was managed by, or who is now, but he was or they were managed by Felipe Luis. Uh, played for Atletico Madrid. Dude had no coaching experience, no first team coaching experience. They bring him up because they fired Chiche, and so he loses to a guy with no first team experience. So for me, it's like, please stay away from that guy. It's like you said,
It's like
Tommy. Bring
they're looking
bring
for that
somebody.
pattern.
Yeah, bring somebody that's like kind of had success, especially in like knockout tournaments, because that's what the Liga is. It's a knockout, so like you can't really rest. You can't really like say like, okay, this guy won the league, but it's like traditional European league where it's like done by points. See, like if he hasn't won any knockout style tournaments, it's for me it's a little bit hard to sell. Um, for me, I would if I had to say, I would love for them to bring George Jesus. He's without a job after leaving Al Hilal. Won the Libertadores with Flamengo in 2019. He's coached big clubs like Benfica. The only downside is that he's 70 years old,
Yeah,
and so it would be like 1 or 2 years. Like that would be it. Like
Yeah.
that would be the commitment. But what I can kid myself is all the players are in their 30s. Like
Why
it's
not
like
bring an experience?
we're not. It's for them. It's win now. Like so it would. And to me, George Jesus. I'm sorry for anybody that likes Tuca Ferretti, but George Jesus on another planet than Tuca Ferretti. Like dude's
of
coach. Like
course,
I said, he's
but
coached. The only
exactly.
thing you can argue too is like he doesn't know Liga MX, but he didn't know Brazil, and he went to Brazil and won everything with Flamengo. Um, you know, and he's won a knockout style tournament. I don't know if he's won. I think he won with Al Hilal, like their Champions League or whatever. But he's won some knockout style tournaments. So like, um, that's what you can sell. But it's the two things that would argue would be the age and just not knowing Liga MX, because some people want people that know Liga MX. So I don't know where you guys stand on that. But to me, that you know that's a name that at least players like Ramos and Canales, they can at least be like, yeah, we can respect that. Like because I think at Al Hilal, uh, Yasin, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yasin Bano, he was the goalkeeper for Sevilla. So at
Oh yeah.
least you can be like, and he was at Al Hilal. So at least they can have like some type of reference to be like, hey, how's this coach? They can reach out to him and be like, I think Ramos was there before he left to Al Hilal. I know Torres and I don't know if Tecatito, and Lucas Ocampo. So like there's that Sevilla connection that maybe they can be like, hey, how's this coach or whatever. So at least that's like somebody they can respect. I don't think it's gonna happen because for some reason this directiva likes like uh, the way you present yourself.
The image,
For they like appearance. They like appearance.
their PRs.
Yeah, I don't know how a
Yeah.
70-year-old speak. I don't know. I got to see if he speaks Portuguese. I mean Spanish. I mean, because he's only coached in Portugal, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, Turkey. I would like to think he knows English or maybe a little bit of Spanish.
Yeah,
But
he
either
might
way,
know
I don't care. If I don't care about the language anymore. We're trying to win here. I don't care. So, or the
As
reporters,
long as they
go learn
understand
some Portuguese.
Spanish.
Yeah, like it's like when Vincent Janssen first came, and like not a lot of reporters spoke English, so it was kind of like awkward. I remember that,
Hey, we
that
have
press
Tony right now.
conference where it was like the guy didn't know what they were asking. But either way, I don't care anymore. Like if he only
missed
speaks
him.
Portuguese, I'm sorry, people. You guys are gonna have to learn Portuguese or figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be my choice. And
Another
the
one,
play. And
another
go
one.
ahead.
People are saying it's Xavi. I don't want him. I don't want
would
him because I don't.
The Xavi thing, I think it would be.
I
I think
understand
he
his
was too green. He
experience.
was too green for Barcelona, and that's what kind of like screwed him over. If he would have gone like the Cesc route or like the like coach, he kind of did a little bit. Went to Qatar, but like once he crossed over to Europe, it was like now you're at Barcelona. If you fail here, it's gonna be a major hit. Uh, he didn't have like that. Like I said, he didn't go the Cesc route or the Xavi, where it's like, yeah, Bayer Leverkusen, people know who they are, but it's not like Dortmund or Bayern Munich. Like it's like a second or third tier like European team, and so
Put
it's
up a
like,
big team, yeah.
yeah, and it's like, dude, you're going in like, yeah, but
I mean,
the
how
only
would be like the relationship with Ramos? I don't know if they
I
can.
think they play with each other on the Spanish national team. I think they can. I
Well,
think they have some respect for each other. So I would think,
Might.
the only thing that would go against him is that did he win a Copa del Rey? Because I don't,
Yeah,
you
he
know,
won Copa and Liga.
okay, so he has he has familiarity with like winning a knockout style tournament.
Yeah.
Uh, so that would be something in his favor. Uh, but then I'm looking at Mascherano's like screw it up with Inter Miami, but even then Mascherano was kind of like stinky with Argentina or with the youth team, so I don't think it would be that bad. At least Xavi has coached like professionals and he's won with professionals. I I would do it if they were going to commit to him like a 3 or 4 year project. Like
Yeah,
it would
not
have
just
to
for the
be like
Mexico
that.
World
It
Cup.
would have to be like you would have to probably sell him on, okay, what are we doing after Canales leaves, after Ramos leaves? What are we doing after?
And I
It
I
can't
feel like
be,
Xavi might have a little bit more of a say on bringing in academy players because we saw what he did with
Yeah.
Yamal, with Eric
yeah.
Garcia, with Cobarsi, with all of
I mean,
those
it helps. I
guys.
mean, it helps that Barcelona they're in financial problems. So like they had to do it because they can't go out and
But
buy and
I mean,
spend.
it kind of worked
It
out
worked.
because they're doing good
Yeah,
right
so
now.
I think, but I think it might be like, okay, it worked out for me there. Let me see if I can do it again here, even though they can spend a little bit money. I mean, not. I mean, if Barcelona could spend it, they would outspend Monterrey. So it's just like he'll
It's gonna
have some money to spend.
And we might have Aldo Patricio
Yeah,
next season. So
yeah,
I
yeah. I
mean,
mean,
at this
I
point, like I said, like at this point, as long as it's someone that has experience and that
mhm.
knows how to handle like the egos, and that it's like if they respect him,
Yeah, I think respect to me would be respect and having won something. And if I had to
experience.
nitpick, winning it in a knockout style, because like I
yeah.
said, you can win the league, but if it's traditional European league, it's completely different than what it is in Mexico and all other places where it's like you have to win a knockout style tournament to win your league. Um, Now the last 10, 15 minutes here, let's go over to the players. Obviously, we can't go too much into detail because we don't know who's the coach and we don't know like what type of formation, what are they going to do, and yada yada yada. But we can start to speculate a little bit because they also have to move quick with the players. Like there's only a short window for them to improve the team before the Club World Cup. Um, is there? Give me, since it's the
Andrada.
summer, I would say give me 4 players. Four. No, what? Yeah, 5 players. Give me 5 players. Um, if you want to do 3 foreign players, 2 Mexican players, because there's already speculation that 2 of the Mexican players, it's gonna be Cortizo, and
Aguirre.
I've heard Aguirre,
Aguirre.
I've heard Ambriz. In terms of like the foreign players, Esteban
All of them.
Andrada,
Don't
Corcho.
say Corcho.
Yeah, so you can defend them when you have to talk. I've heard Stefan Medina.
San,
I've
San,
heard
Hector
uh
Moreno is also
yeah,
Hector,
Hector
yeah.
Moreno's the other Mexican. I've heard what's another foreign player that I've heard? Trying to think at the top of my head. I mean, I've heard some
Berterame. They're trying to like
Amsterdam a little bit, but I think that would be like more like give us 14 million, like like the way Portland was going to do, and Cincinnati, like where they were about to spend like
that's not gonna
a good
happen.
amount. I mean, he's kind of bounced back, and I think like
Oh yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
he
and
did
I
like
think
really well.
kill it
MLS
right
teams,
now.
what MLS teams can tell themselves is like MLS. You look at their defending; it's pretty bad, and you've seen Bertarame take advantage of that type of bad defending. As long as he's not going to a team plays on turf, I think he'll be fine. If he goes to a team that plays on turf, I don't think, or if it's a team that plays on turf that wants him, I think that's why he rejected Portland because they play on turf. It's like I'm not going to get into there again.
TSC.
So, but give me 4 players. Give me 2 Mexican, or if you want to do 5, 4 or 5 players that, because obviously not everybody's going to leave. Even the players that we want to leave, it's not. It has to make
Yeah.
sense. Because if, like for example, Andrada's drawing interest in Vélez, but with an Argentinian team, more than likely Monterrey's going to have to pay him to go away. They're not going to buy him outright. So they're going to have to like sell him at a discount or loan him and then pay 50 to 60, like they do with Vegas, who's playing in Colo Colo, and it's a loan. And I'm pretty sure Monterrey is kicking in some money for them, like for them to like so you can get play over there. And I feel like it's going to be the same because Andrada's under contract till 2027, I think.
Yep.
So yeah, I think either that or again go the the Duvan route, the Zhao route, where you buy them out of their contract, and yeah, he's not on the team, but you still have to pay him his money, depending on how they work out, like the structure of their payments. Uh, but yeah, I think that's Andrada's like the one where like a team is actually like connected. Like there's at least one team, Vélez, but it's an Argentinian team. They're not gonna buy him. They're not gonna spend a lot of money on him, and it's gonna be just cut your losses and
And I
get rid of
think
him.
another goalie came up now, like against Andrada. So I don't know if it's
Yeah, yeah, no, and I haven't seen any names like strict, like concrete, like this is a name they're going after, because I think first is the coach they have to get, and then figure out the rest. But to wrap up this the last 10-15 minutes of the pod, I'll go with you, Fernando, first. Give me 4 or 5 players, that you think okay, it's time to move. It's time to move on.
So Andrada, like he needs to be gone. I do understand that we're not in a good position for keepers. Like there's not really one that would accept the project, but hey, it's like a change we have to make. Other than that, Eric Aguirre, I'm sorry, he needs to go. Uh, I prefer them. I did not prefer Eric Aguirre over Edson, and that's saying a lot with being injury prone. And whenever he does come in, do like 10 bad crosses and they get injured. Like it's just a toxic cycle. Uh, Ambris, I do want him out, but I understand that he is more of a project. So Ambris is the only one that I'm like, hey, so maybe we can keep him for a little bit more. But Jordi Cortizo, the ego got to his head. He needs to go. Like he's all about like public connection with the
Yeah,
like fandom, but like yeah, you can also maybe connect passes or
yeah,
maybe connect like
yeah. His
hits
best
to the
game of
goal
the
like
season. His best game of the season was against that the first leg against or
Vancouver.
yeah, no, the
Forge.
Forge. There you go. Like when he scored the free kick, and I think he had a pretty good game in the second leg. I think those were the only like 2 games where like he was no he made a good impact. Other than that, I think he was bad against Vancouver in that first leg, and that was after like the reports came out that there were players unhappy with their minutes, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, it wasn't good. So like that's 3 names, right?
Yeah.
You got Jordi, you got Eric Aguirre, you got
And
Esteban Andrada. Give me 2 names, 2 more.
Stefan Medina, I don't want him gone. I wish he could retire and go into our maybe be a youth coach or something. I don't think that would happen. I think that he wants to play still, but he's not up to standards of like our defense at the moment. Maybe if we had better players, he would fit a little bit better.
I think
But
if at this point, if he was like your third or fourth best defender, he would be fine.
yeah,
But there are times, especially like when there's no Ramos and there was no and Victor Guzman can be good, and then he can be like it's the system it's the symptom of the team where it's like one team 1 week they're good and the next week they're shit. I think
yeah,
that's what with Victor Guzman, it's like he can be really good and it's like okay, he has all the potential, but then it's just like not good. And then it falls on Stefan Medina to be the best defender on the team because you can go to
yeah.
Arteaga. Arteaga's the same way. And then Rica Chavez,
It's
he's
better
he's all right.
offensive.
Yeah, yeah. But so okay, so you got 4. You
That's
got
four.
Stefan Andrada, Jordi, and uh, Eric Aguirre. So who would you
Eric
go for your fifth
Aguirre.
one?
Uh, it's really hard to choose a foreign spot to go at this moment. Because as I'm part of the Corcho plays really well. You cannot judge of performances like one-off scenarios where he makes a mistake, he's pretty good. He's one of the best midfielders in Liga MX,
Oh,
and there's
I think he
there's
froze. Oh no.
I think we can hear you. There you
Okay.
go.
Okay.
there you go.
That's
Yeah,
okay. As long as you can hear me, that's fine. I don't care. But yeah,
so
so
Coach
you're not you're
Coach
not
is one
you're
of the
not
best
on
ones.
you're not on Cocho has to leave
No,
at any cost.
if the guy is able to have a good manager that can tell him like where to go with Oliver Torres with the Gosa, he can like implement himself pretty well, pretty good. But I'm just not wanting to say it, but Ocampos, for me, I do understand that you're coming out of an injury, but since when did you come out of that injury?
Yeah.
It is like
But it's more a mental
sometimes,
thing.
yeah, like you can see it on the face of a player whenever he wants to be playing and whenever they don't want to be playing, and you can like read his body language. There were times in which Ocampos just stopped running with the ball on a counter attack. So yeah, you did a lot for us on the first season, and we thank you for that. But right now, you're not doing anything, and we're not gonna live off the past.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Um
say it, but somebody has to.
yeah, I mean it also depends on like I wonder what the manager who's going to be the manager, and especially if you get somebody with like some type of like uh experience, has experience working these top players, and that they say, you know what, X player, whether it be someone like Berterame or Campos, and be like, you know what, they're not going to fit my system. Well, they try to force it, you know,
Yeah.
uh, because then it's just like now you're just forcing it. It's just not going to work. Um, but you, Samira, what are the five players that you'd be like, okay, it's time to cut the or it's time to end their tenure there.
I think like automatically Andrada, of course. Um, Same thing. Like Medina, he's really good. He has experience. That experience, it's what's been helping him not to look like really bad against fast players because he's like he knows how to read the like what they're trying to do. Um, but you can't just rely on him because he cannot be your last man because he's not fast. So we need like a replacement, not for him to leave, but to keep it like on the bench. Um, Eric Aguirre, he needs to leave. Like he has done nothing. Um, I don't want to say like because players like Arteaga, like they're really bipolar. So it's that kind of thing. Like you don't want to sell him because we don't have a replacement for him right now. We have Hueso Reyes, but he's
Yeah,
he's
old.
older.
Only
So as
there's
long as
nothing
he brings
behind them.
someone, I wouldn't mind to let them go. Just because if you're gonna let them go because you're getting something better.
Yeah.
If not, fine. I mean, I guess. Um, Midfield, I guess. I don't want Corcho to leave because I, I know people don't like him. I know he had mistakes. I know this hate, it's all because of like what happened in the final against America, and he was standing in front of Richard Sanchez, but that's it. Like that's it. I don't understand why people hate him so much.
You're gonna have to.
Last
You're gonna
game,
have. You're the summer months. You're gonna have to say. You're gonna be fighting for your life, saying all.
I don't. I mean, honestly, I gave up on X. I know that I'm not gonna change their mindset. You can check on the last 6 games Corcho had, and he's not the worst. FODMOB has a really good rating on him, and I've seen him play. So I know he might be looking bad, but it's all Demichelis experimenting, and that's not fair. Also, like Ambris. So if you it's because again it really depends on who's gonna come as a coach because you don't understand like what kind of system or how they're gonna play. But if you keep Corcho in your bench and use him as whenever you want to switch to more like defense lineup, I wouldn't mind. Like, he doesn't have to be like starting, right? But you can't let him go because his body, he's like big, and you need guys like that for Liga MX. Like, he has a really good physique. So you're trying to recover balls in the middle because we had games that our midfield is literally disconnected, and it's because you're switching Fimbres, you're switching the Osa, like attacking and then defense, and then they're trying to on the same games like switch, and that's how your players get lost. Anyways, Berterame, it's our time to sell him because that's when this is our last chance. I don't want him to lose more value on the market. Just get rid of him.
Yeah.
Again, you need to bring someone better.
Yeah.
Ocampos is the same thing. Like, if you're trying to make, it's either you wake up or you're out next season, but it's like you gave us completely different seasons. Like, first season was amazing, and then so if you're trying to say like attitude, so I guess at this point there's no player other than Canales, De Osa, and Sergio Ramos that I wouldn't mind.
Everybody's
Everyone
available
else,
for the right
it's
price.
like if we get an
Everybody's available.
offer, if we get a better player, if we get like an exchange,
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
everyone,
I
it's
think
like
everybody outside of the players that you mentioned should be like, if there's a price,
I would say Oliver,
especially in the
Torres,
summer,
too.
you don't have to. There's more time, but obviously there needs to be a limit as to when they come in. When there's an offer come in. But I think if I'm Monterrey, everybody outside of Deos Canales and maybe Ramos is available for the right price.
Exactly.
And then that's
Personally,
it.
I would say just Victor Guzman. I'm sorry, like everyone's gonna like hate on him for a while, but he's like what 22.
He's 23
young.
He's 23.
He's
He's
really young.
23
I
already.
don't
He's
mind
my
Victor Guzman. I don't mind Victor Guzman. He's not
Victor.
bad, but
It's just because like
you can't rely now. Like, he's
you
not
see
giving
what
you the confidence he used to give you before.
Yeah.
Like, when he was on the pitch, you were like, yeah, there's Victor Guzman, and I was like, oh, how is he doing? Because I mean,
It's just
completely
I think we can
owned
have this
Gignac
conversation for another
a lot of
podcast.
games.
And it's just like, when's the last time a Mexican player came to like Monterrey and like took his level? And I'm not talking about like a youth player, but like talking about somebody like a Jesus Gallardo, Victor Guzman, those types, where it's like they come in with a lot of expectations and they flash a little bit of it, but it's like they can never find that consistency to like hit the next level. Or it's like, okay, yeah, we have one of the best players at their position, and it's only
I mean,
a matter of
Gallardo
time.
was it for a while.
Gallardo was for a long time, yeah, but
I mean, it's not a lot being the best
it was
Mexican
one of the
left
players
back
that
for a
literally
while.
let you lose. Like,
But
those mistakes,
Yeah.
Those mistakes, like, it's like Romo, like, they're not bad players, but what people need to understand is like Rayados has you need to have that kind of level. Like, you cannot just bring a player. For me, I'm sorry, but Jordi Cortizo is not on the level, and he was complaining that he was not starting. So it's like,
Yeah, I think, and we can get this into another podcast once rumors really start to pop up. But it's just like some of these, and you talked about it earlier, where it's like some of these players just come for a paycheck because they're getting paid a lot of money, and I touched on it on Twitter. It just feels like it's just like I've covered PSG. It just feels like that, where it's like players who don't really give a shit. It's just like, oh, I'm just getting paid a lot of money. Yeah. I'm not gonna bother to speak or learn French. We're gonna speak Spanish. We're not gonna communicate in French. I'm not even gonna try to learn French. And yeah, I just came because you guys are paying me a lot of money, and I feel like that's where Monterrey is. Like, there's no players where it's like, maybe there's exceptions like Canales. It's because their professionalism. They have they respect where they're at. But you see some players more often than not, they don't care. Like, it's just because, I mean, you look at the Duvans, the Jows, They mostly probably came because they just got paid a lot, and that's why I was never a fan of when they would say, bring X player a billetazos, right? Because that's a bad, you already set them up and be like, they're only coming for the money. But yeah, I mean, we'll get into that into another podcast because that's when we can really start talking about the players. But Zamira and Fernando, I think we can just leave it there. We don't. There's just so much that hasn't unraveled that we really can't. It would, the podcast would age if we
Yeah.
just talk about it. So we have to wait on who's the coach first, and then we can go there. But we'll be back eventually. Once the coach is hired, because we have the Club World Cup. So, but yeah, people, I know it sucks right now, but we'll try to get through this. But
We'll get better
Everything's
at some
fine.
point.
yeah. Everybody, thank you for listening.
Thank you.